The Jamaica Premier League powered by Digicel. We're at the UWI-JFF Captain Horsburgh Centre of Excellence, and we're getting ready to start off the match day 4 action with Arnett Gardens battling Cavalier this afternoon. The referee is Stephen Duar, 31 years old, and he sets them on their way. And he's a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the referee Duar. Let's hope he doesn't have to arrest anyone with red cards this afternoon. The referee, a past student of the tremendously outstanding institution at National Heroes Circle, Dwight. I'm not sure if you know what school that is.
I'm pretty sure you're talking of Wolvers. But yeah, we expect the referee here being a part of the JCF team, that he will uphold the law and keep the order in this one today.
Yeah, so Cavalier pressing out on the Arnett defenders pretty early in the piece, and very, very hot conditions at the moment. There's O'Shane Roberts, a man who spent some time at Waterhouse and Cavalier as well. Chin, who gets a start today for Cavalier, just having trouble controlling the ball. Some of the players, we are told, are not so comfortable on the artificial surface here, and I guess many of them would have appreciated. There's Arnett Gardens trying to go forward there. Appreciated the stint on the Stadium East field last weekend.
Yeah, pretty much, and talk about the pressure that it puts on the footing. And I did hear players saying that they cannot continue too much on this surface.
Yeah, there's Arnett Gardens with Hardy Barnes, so trying to make some room for himself on that play. Under some pressure from goalkeeper Jadine White. Hardy Barnes, previously played for Portmore in the Premier League as well. Originally from St. Mary. Let's see what he'll offer today. Didn't play all that well in the opening game when they lost to Tivoli. Was substituted in the second half. Ming asking Webster to move forward. He was there urgent, trying to get the opportunity to go forward. Ming with the captain's armband today. Kamoy Simpson had been captain before, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And interesting to see how Barnes will operate today. Look at his play to see his level of confidence, because the last game, a lot of the chances that Arnett missed fell to him. And we're talking about good opportunities, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and think on 2 occasions, and didn't manage to get a goal. And he was substituted in the second half in that game as well, Lance.
Yeah. He's only 23 years old, and sometimes when you see situations like those, huge crunching challenge there with Sigri clashing with Chin. Arnett on the advance. Guthrie with the ball inside. Just a little bit too much pace on it, trying to get Harley Barnes in, but ball too close to the goalkeeper, Jadine White, who collected. But a few good moments early here for this Arnett Gardens team. As we said, coming off a win in their last picture from behind, I might say, against Tumbaland, showing resilience. Sometimes when you see players missing opportunities, Dwight, and still being started by the coach, it tells you one of 2 things. One, that they are doing well in training, or 2, they are being credited for getting themselves in goal-scoring positions, because that is the first part of making yourself a goal scorer.
A lot of coaches will say that's the most difficult part. Have to move into space, recognizing where defenders are and what space will open up, or the intent of the pass. And he did that well in the last game, just didn't finish. And coaching staff showing confidence in him.
Yeah, significant that Melvin Doxley, the St. Lucian, is in midfield today. Played in the right back position in earlier fixtures. Let's see how he performs in that number 16 shirt today from a different position.
Yeah, it was something I saw and pointed out when the formation of the team were put up on the graphics there. But yeah, maybe it has to do with the fact that Clark and Cephas are 2 attacking threat down the flanks, and maybe they feel he's better served inside.
Harley Barnes gets loose towards the box. His cross inside is dangerous. Shot miskicked by Cephas. Oh, he should have done better with that. He was 8 yards from the goal at a bit of an angle, but there's the disappointment. He knows that he should have at least gotten that on goal.
That's good play again. And you talk about the movement of Barnes. Again, that was good. Picked it up and set up Cephas. And it was on his stronger right foot. And you felt he should have buried it from there. A good ball. Cut out the defender. This is furthest point. It was away from the defender. And you expected Cephas to finish. He did that last time out too. Missed a few chances before getting on the score sheet.
Webster for Cavalier, hounded by Sigree. Oh, Webster gets by Sigree, but doesn't keep possession of the ball, so it's a goal kick to Arnett Gardens. Wow, Rodriguez goes down already. There's Alex Thomas, the Arnett Gardens coach, played for Jamaica in the Under-17 World Cup back in 1999 and the Under-20 World Cup back in 2001 in Argentina. Alex Thomas had coaching success at Wolmer's as assistant coach with 3 Walker Cup titles, and a couple of Under-16 titles as well. Now he's in the big job, taking over from a position that was successfully held by Jerome Waite in the past. There's Rudolph Speed, head coach of this Cavalier team, and the man that masterminds the youthful investment in the Cavalier setup.
Yeah, you never hear him complain about players gone away on contract or stuff, because I guess he recognizes, Rudolph, that the fact that he has gone that route and taken that model, depth has to be a part of his system, and so he tends to recruit a lot of youngsters.
Yeah, there's the St. Lucian, Melvin Doxley, just settling himself in his new position in midfield here for Cavalier.
And as we see there, Barnes, really, you have to give him credit in terms of his movement. He comes short at time and allow runners to go in behind.
Cephas turns well. Guthrie. Oh, the captain gives the ball away, and Webster goes forward looking for Chanel Thomas, but play easily handled there by Cunningham. Back to his goalkeeper, and Arnett trying to rebuild from the back.
That's what we're seeing from this Arnett team. You and I did the first game with Arnett. Much improved, looking more fluent going forward. I think they're beginning to find their groove. And despite the youthfulness of this team, I see this Arnett team really pushing hard in this season.
Sigree in the number 31 shirt, a former Barbican player. Back to Cunningham. Cunningham goes waver to the right side. Shane Roberts forces the ball upfield, cut off by Cavalier in midfield. Atkinson shows pace, and Cavalier on the counter. Throw to Cavalier. Stiff wind across the Centre of Excellence complex here at Mona. But a pretty energetic start to the game here for the two teams.
And we expected that with the, as I said, the conditions, the youthfulness of the team. We expect them to really play at a high intensity.
Cavalier on the advance, trying to get young Atkinson in. Atkinson, a diminutive player, but a player with a lot of pace and good kicking ability as well. And the Arnett defenders, even though they're a lot bigger than he is, will know that he's a handful.
And what we saw them doing in the last game to keep him quiet, they really roughed him up. It was physical on him.
Yeah, the Dunbeholden men.
Yes.
Cross to the near post there, but Rodriguez does well. Takes away any hope that Chanel Thomas may have had in closing in on that one. Arnett playing things out from the back. Ball crossed and behind. Jay Chin there not getting a hold of the cross well, not giving any of his attacking players an opportunity to close in on that one in the box.
I think unlike last game out against Dunbeholden, where Cavalier sat a little bit off, we see the high press being re-employed here today, trying to prevent this Arnett Gardens team from playing out from the back.
Cunningham, big tall central defender who scored one of the goals against Humberland in the victory. Ezra Simpson, the number 4 shirt, forcing the ball up to the right side. Roberts does well there on the right side, but his attempted cross inside was snuffed out. 10 minutes in, no goals here between Arnett and Cavalier. Remember, Arnett had swept Cavalier last season, 2-0, 4-2 and 1-0, in contrast to the previous season when Cavalier played undefeated against Arnett in 5 games, including eliminating them 3-0 on aggregate in their two-way playoff clash.
For the most part, Lance, in that starts, there's more than likely goals in the contest when these two teams meet.
Yeah, they do have the tendency to be high scoring when these two teams clash. And I think Guthrie was aiming there to get that one over to Clark, but one of his teammates got in the way. Offside flag. There have been a couple of 6 and 7 goal performances between these two teams as you talk about goals, Jeremiah. November 2019, Arnett 4-2 over Cavalier. December 2017, Arnett 4-3 over Cavalier. Lots of goals there.
We would like today to be one of those days.
Yeah. Oh, Clark with a good cross inside, but Jaden White is alert and comes in. He's fouled. Yeah, but that was a very, very...
I think he fell over his own player.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, Gadale Irving trying to protect the ball. The onrushing Arnett man, I think it was Cephas who was rushing in. Yeah, Irving, who gets a start today. He didn't start last week against Dunbeholden, started today. As the sun leaves us for the moment, happily, because it's really hot here at the UAJFF Captain Horsburgh Centre of Excellence. So medical attention to Irving. There's Speed, the man who would have made the strategic decisions for the starting roster today. As we said, Irving not starting last week, coming from off the bench, gets the start today.
They were quite flat last week. You expected some changes, and I guess Coach Speed felt, based on his showing coming off the bench, he would have had it a lot coming into this one. So often, as coaches, when the camera goes on them and a player is down, seem to be so relaxed most of the time.
Yeah. So Irving looks as if he'll be okay. And to add to the scoring proficiency when these two teams meet each other, I spoke about the 4-2 over Cavalier Arnett had in November 2019 and the 4-3 they had over Cavalier in December 2017. There was a 3-0 win Cavalier had over Arnett in the first leg of the playoffs in the 2018-2019 season. And there was a 2-2 scoreline as well back in November 2017 with Skamoy Simpson and Marshall scoring for Cavalier. Fishnell Harris and Fabian Reed for Arnett Gardens. So these teams tend not to play too many scoreless matches. So let's see what happens here. Here's Doxley, the St. Lucian. Goes wide to his captain of the day, Ming. To Chin. Ming again. To King. So it's Ming, Chin, King. And now Doxley.
Arnett unable to get Clark into the game as much as they did the last time.
Ming to Chin, Doxley. Murray. Irving wants it and gets it. Giovanni Leng, who starts in the left full-back position today as well, in the number 3 shirt for Cavalier. So that was actually a third change in the starting roster for Cavalier this afternoon. There he is, Giovanni Lane. Only 20 years old. Pretty tall as well at 6'1". Chin goes long. Webster, his first touch is fairly good. Cunningham puts pressure on. Thomas. Oh, thought he was trying to backheel the ball back into the path of Webster, but it didn't come off.
It looks so he just got his pec stuck in the turf here.
Yeah, Arnett Barnes robbed off the ball here by King. Oh, but the little man, Guthrie, does well for Arnett. Marlon Martin trying to drill through there, but fouled. Guthrie. I'm not too sure who that pass was intended for.
He was looking for Cephas, but Cephas was having words with Barnes with the sequence of play before as to where he wanted the ball to be played.
Yeah.
Guthrie didn't realise, and he wasted an opportunity to get on it on the front foot again.
Yeah, good to see the little man with the captain's armband here for Arnett Gardens. Debuted in the Premier League last year. Romeo Guthrie in the number 17 shirt. The Charles Smith Manning Cup captain of 2017. Had a couple of goals last year as well for Arnett Gardens in the Premier League. Scored against Harbourview, and there was a stunning volley strike he had against Malines in January of last year as well. Clark trying to get his captain back into the game, but well read by Doxley. Atkinson, Doxley, Chin.
I think so far so good for the move from Cavalier with Doxley in the centre of midfield. He's working hard to break up the plays, and so far he has done a decent job.
Roberts, Barnes, his first touch not that good, so it allows King to come through to snatch the ball from him. Doxley sees Webster going down the right flank. Overhits the pass. Throw to Arnett Gardens. Yeah, so Webster a little disappointed there. The former St. Elizabeth Technical and Wilmer's Manning Cup St. Elizabeth Technical Costa Cup player. Guthrie in control for Arnett Gardens. Plays easily to the back to Simpson. So Arnett, at the moment, patient in their own half of the field. Sigree. Simpson gets Roberts in. Cephas turns, but Murray's right on his heels.
What we've seen from Cavalier here, not wanting to give any space and time to this very talented Arnett Garden team, and see a player down from a very firm challenge.
Yeah, Irving. Yeah, Alex Thomas urging his team on there. There's Irving, and Simpson comes charging in. Went for the ball, but gets Irving as well.
Yes. Irving, he has hit the turf a few times since the start of this one.
Yeah. A couple of seasons now behind him. Irving in the Premier League for Cavalier has been pretty solid. 2 seasons ago got Cavalier through to the semi-finals.
It's been pretty even so far, though. Both teams on it. Best chance of the game, though, you feel, fell to Cephas, and with that you feel Arnett could just have been ahead.
Irving's cross, a little short. Guthrie gets it away. Doxley retrieves. Irving. Yeah. So Shane Roberts getting in the way for Arnett Gardens.
Doing some good defensive work there, putting his body on the line. We all know what he can do at the other end of the park. Always have some very good deliveries. In fact, last week I think he assisted the first goal. Very good delivery.
Yeah, pretty experienced Well, certainly relatively speaking compared to the rest of the Arnett men on the pitch at the moment. Irving's cross is threatening, but on the near post, Rodriguez is right there.
This was a good ball in the box, and we saw Thomas there really putting some pressure on Rodriguez. Good ball into the box.
Yeah, Shamil Thomas arriving there just a little bit late. Oh, Cephas does really well there in keeping possession of the ball. King coming to put pressure on him. Cephas looking confident. Arnett searching for some holes in the Cavalier midfield at the moment. Not finding any. Sigri loses his balance on the turf. Get some help here from Martin. Yeah, that was Barnes heading on there, probably looking to set that across to Cephas, not quite getting to him. Throw here for Arnett Gardens, so a good passage of play here for Arnett Gardens at the moment. Putting Cavalier on the back foot.
Yeah, some good probing passes and trying to go vertical with their passes.
Effort on goal. White takes no chances. There's Joy Cunningham, the big 21-year-old 6-footer from Arnett Gardens, testing Jadine White.
Well, he got a taste for goal last week and tried it here again to see if he could catch White out. In the end, easy tip over for White.
Yeah, a quality goalkeeper, White. You wouldn't have expected that to trouble him much. Roberts, good cross inside, and it's Webster there with a header out. Sigri attempting an effort from range. White goes down now, so I'm not sure what's wrong with him, but first quarter of the match just about to end. I think this is the water break, and we've seen since the start of the match both goalkeepers go down. Now White is down earlier on. Rodriguez was down as well.
Yes, not mean that they've had any real contact. I think the one with White was when he made contact with Irving. I don't know if there's still anything effect of that when he landed going over the back of Irving. But what we saw on the corner kick just now, Lance, it was almost deja vu in terms of what we saw in terms of Cunningham scoring the first goal last week. It was a short corner to Roberts, who then put in a quality cross into the box like we just saw here. And was again a threatening moment for the opponent.
Yeah, so apparently an ankle issue there for Jadine White.
And you feel Cavalier would be concerned about that.
Yeah.
Hoping that he can continue, because as you said, Lance is a quality goalkeeper, and when you have a goalkeeper of his quality, your defense tend to play with a lot of composure.
Yeah. I think he'll be okay though. He's now in an almost kneeling position. Jadine White, Arnett Gardens getting some instructions from their coaching staff. And Alex Thomas briefing them. So White is back on his feet again. Celebrated his 21st birthday last week. Jadine White, 6 feet 2 inches. And as he said, a pretty solid goalkeeper. And Cavalier looking for him to stop a lot of opponents' shots this season. Getting ready for the restart. Halfway through the first half, no goals. Arnett Gardens and Cavalier. I would say Arnett have looked a little bit more threatening than Cavalier have.
Yes, they have, Lance, and like I said, the best chance of the game fell to Arnett Gardens.
Ming. Chin has acres of room on the right here. Webster positioning himself for the pass. Oh, gets the return play. Good build up here by Cavalier. Right across, and the Arnett defenders get the ball away. So that was a moment of concern there for the Arnett defense line, but they handled it well.
Well, we've seen Cavalier get a few good looking coming down their right side, and seems to be the area where they will seek to penetrate this or get in behind this Arnett Gardens rear guard.
Martin there. Followed by Irving. And Cephas.
they have been very tight on Cephas, and what we've seen on some occasion, a double teaming off him to really stop those menacing runs. We know he has good pace, and if not kept in check, will create a lot of havoc for any opponent he faces.
Free kick to Arnett. Wow, look at the number of red shirts in the Cavalier box looking for a go-ahead goal for Arnett Gardens. 25 minutes in. Yeah, Ming believes he was fouled.
I think nothing doing on that occasion. Both players just went for the ball. Certainly with 7 players in the penalty box just now for the corner, and it definitely showing their intent.
Yeah. Good work here by Sigri. He's done well at the left full back position so far in this match. Guthrie for Arnett. Goes for goal, does Guthrie. Yeah. Enterprising shooting instinct from these Arnett men. They were off target in their opening game when they lost to Tivoli Gardens.
I think just for a moment there, White was a little bit concerned. Then he realized it was going wide, but there was some swerve on that shot.
Yeah. And you could see Guthrie, his body language was designed to fool White. He did appear as if he just wanted to play a quiet pass. But you could see his mind working overtime. He said, let me crack one at the goalkeeper and see what happens here.
And you like to see that from your young players, thinking all the time, realizing it's a lot to do with your mind or your brain in the game, not just with your feet.
Yeah, in their 1-0 loss to Tivoli in their opening game, this Arnett Gardens team, they had 9 shots attempted, none of them on target. Not that they'll fix that, because a couple of their shots so far this afternoon have been off as well, but they are showing the willingness to shoot.
Well, in the last game they did show a marked improvement in that. I think they might have been about 7 if I'm not
on target.
Yes, so really were much better in the last game. Coaching staff did say they worked a lot on it.
Webster, yeah, knocked over from behind there, Webster was, so a free kick in a pretty threatening position for Cavalier, just about maybe 27 yards out or so. Webster that did well there, took the ball on the chest and protected the ball well, invited the foul. So let's see who will crack this one on goal, maybe young Atkinson.
Both Webster and Atkinson showing some interest.
Atkinson walks away. Maybe he doesn't
want that battle.
Yeah, probably doesn't want to shoot any goals at his former Kingston College schoolmate.
You think?
Shitty Rodriguez and go for Arnett, and it's Webster that is preparing to strike. A 3-man wall here set up by Arnett Gardens, approaching the half hour. Ronald Webster. Oh, he sets the ball back. Oh, the shot on goal blocked. Cephas threatening. Martin. Yeah, I thought Arnett could have done better with that, because when the ball went to Martin, he appeared to hesitate a bit. I think probably wanted the pass a little bit early as well. That's
what I was going to say, Lance. You felt Cephas could have made that pass much earlier. And Martin didn't really check his run, didn't really go into his stride, didn't have well in front of him to run onto it. But it looked like the right thing to Cephas to have done is to play it much earlier.
So Steve Clark is about to cross this corner for Arnett Gardens. Again, a fair amount of red shirt presence in the Arnett box. Ball set back here. Fierce shot driven on goal by Roberts. Sigri gets the rebound and tries himself, but Cavalier's defense line in the past few minutes, Dwight being tested here by an Arnett team that looks very, very willing to go gowards.
Yes, they are. They, as I said before, chalk and cheese between their first game and the second, and even in this one, in terms of how fluent they are looking, this Arnett Gardens team. Cavalier still just holding their own so far. The shot by Sigrid just now, he did come under a little pressure, so there was players coming out to apply pressure to him, so he scuffed the shot. But you're right, Cavalier having to do a lot of defensive work since the hydration break.
Yeah, this rebuilding Arnett Gardens team anxious to make the fans happy here with some good performances, because they have a solid tradition. Arnett Gardens, Doxley forward, overhit the pass, and Rodriguez has the easy take. When Arnett started their opening match last month against Cavalier, Chadine Rodriguez and O'Shane Roberts were the only two players on the field who started in their last game of the aborted season in March of 2020 against Waterhouse. Cavalier on the advance down the left side. Oh, the cross in. Almost got to Webster there, but Arnett's defenders are efficient.
Yeah, it was, and he had to be, because Rodriguez was out of position, caught out by that square.
I know Arnett's roster is completely different, Dwight, than last year, but they had a very, very poor defensive record last year that this man Alex Thomas would have had to do a lot of work on. They were the fourth worst team in the league defensively last year. 42 goals given up, only Malines and the bottom of the table teams UWI and Veer had given up more goals than they had given up. And I remember last season had gone 3 full months, early December to early March, without one single clean sheet. So Arnett weren't doing as well as they were accustomed to doing in the aborted season. And Alex Thomas, their coach, having a lot of work to do to revive them this year.
Well, they are still without a clean sheet, despite the win last week. Did concede a goal.
Yeah.
And they seem to give a chance every now and then to their opponent.
Oh, the cross inside by Irving. He holds his arms stretched there. You know, why didn't one of the forwards show more willingness to attack the ball?
Yeah, all he did was just to put it in that danger zone and say, hey, one of my strikers just gamble and go at it. None of them did.
Pretty keenly contested game so far, because although Arnett Gardens have appeared to put more pressure on the Cavalier defence line than the converse, Cavalier have had their moments where the Arnett Gardens defenders have had to be sharp. Guthrie to Luca Kong. Big young man Kong, over 6 feet tall. St. George's College student. Yeah, but drafted into the big leagues here by the Arnett Gardens club management, and they have a lot of hope for this young man. He has looked pretty solid and confident on the ball.
There are two youngsters in the middle of the park, Martin and Kong, I think 19 and 18 years old. So doing a good job. A lot of responsibility for them to protect this back four for Arnett, and also to connect with the attacking side of the game.
Yeah, Thomas, as I have mentioned, had a pretty strong international youth career for Jamaica. Chin's pass across. Irving! Right across to Webster. Looked as if he hesitated to go for it. And Irving again is disappointed by the service he's applying in the middle, and no one capitalizing on it.
For a moment there, I thought it was much closer to Webster than it was. We'll see better here. And
he looks up, sees where, is it the deflection?
Yes.
It's the deflection from Ezra Simpson.
Yeah,
because I thought that ball, I thought Webster hesitated, but it was the deflection that threw him off. Yeah, so one of the moments here that we spoke of just now, where Cavalier are causing this Arnett Gardens team some attention. Where their defensive line. First corner. Oh, the ball slips out of Rodriguez's hands, but he recovers quickly enough. And the tall Hardley Barnes. Oh, he looks like Usain Bolt sprinting down the field there, doesn't he? But he's tackled successfully by Ming.
That was good tracking back there from Ming. Had some room to catch up, and he did that so well. good work there from Ming, leading from the front there as the captain.
Yeah, Barnes pretty tall, probably about 6 feet 4 or 5 inches. But Ming showing a lot of industry there and getting back to foil the transition play by Arnett Gardens as we're just over 10 minutes from the halftime break. Yeah, Ming looks a bit winded from the run.
Yeah, he did exert a lot of energy to get back. I think his teammates would appreciate that so much.
Yeah, player with a solid schoolboy record as well. 2017 Manning Cup captain for Bridgeport. Whistle. Free kick again to Arnett.
Really not seen a lot of Clark in this game, and I think that is also a part of why maybe Arnett is not as dangerous and penetrative as they were in their last outing, because Clark had a really good game himself and Cephas. So far, Cavalier has done a good job in keeping him quiet.
Yeah, there he is, Clark. Probably 5 or 6 seasons now in the Premier League. Steve Clark, former Donald Quarry student. Had a couple of goals last year, but has never really been a prolific scorer for Arnett Gardens. Had 2 goals last season. Throw to Arnett. Cross threatening. Oh, Clark's effort is blocked. Guthrie. Sikri. Clark's cross threatening. Yeah, and Cephas losing his footing there as he was about to go to the ball. I guess he'll blame the artificial surface for that. But Clark having a couple of good moments there.
Yeah, but in retrospect, it has been the case. We've seen it a lot with players falling over on the turf.
Yeah. Yes, Arnett really pressing forward here. I think Webster was appealing for a goal kick, but the referee awards a corner to Arnett Gardens. Yeah, there's Webster. Does really good defensive work for this Cavalier team, even though his primary function is as an attacking player.
He's a very good head of the football, and so in both boxes, yeah, he does well.
Clark with a corner for Arnett. Closing in on the halftime break. Can Arnett go ahead here? Sikri tries it left-footed. There's the deflection. Takes it over the top. Another corner. So Arnett Gardens peppering this Cavalier team here with flurries of offensive play.
Yeah, they're rattling up the corner count, and so often we see Arnett not playing the ball one time into the box. Pretty much all their corner kicks have been taken short. Yeah. Changing. And you suspect that straight off the training ground. They did get a goal from it last week, so they're looking again this week to do the same.
Strong effort on goal, and King gets in the way. Another corner. Sigri's left-footed shot there, peppering this Cavalier defense line.
Yes, it really literally bodies on the line for Cavalier to keep this Arnett Gardens team at bay and keeping the scoreline at 0-0.
Sigri has been outstanding so far for Arnett Gardens.
And we see here Cavalier trying now to counter the short corner situation. We saw them there closing it down before they could execute it. Arnett Gardens.
Kong. Oh, Cunningham with a wayward effort.
Yeah, that was always going to be difficult for him. Took it on the tie, but he was always going to be under pressure, so not going to have the time to allow it to come down to get over it. Again, White going down, and I suspect is
maybe cramps, I'm not sure, but we do have the water break now, which is one of the things that will alleviate the frequency of cramps in these hot conditions. But another hold up here as Jaden White goes down.
And we will wait to see if it's a situation where the same that he felt bad, and when he tumbled over, I think it was King, and could be, yeah, they're looking at the ankle again, and interesting to know that the reserve goalkeeper is not on the bench today.
Yeah. St. Michael Edwards is usually the reserve goalkeeper for this Cavalier setup. Yeah, so a bit of a limp there still for White.
You feel that could be the reason why we've seen a lot of shots coming from distance from Arnett Garden, just testing his ability to shuffle across.
Yeah, if it is that they are aware that his mobility is being affected by an injury, then more power to you to be striking regular shots at him. Arnett rampaging forward now. Webster does well. Chin. Doxley. Good pass by Doxley. Webster is knocked over by the
and you felt that
strong defender.
There's a chance to give up possession in terms of Arnett there just now. Defend on and no pressure and just boot it out. He felt he could have kept possession and go into transition as Cavalier was attacking.
Doxley goes long, beautiful pass there to Irving, who has delivered some good passes inside, as he does again here. And the head-on pass by Atkinson is easily handled by goalkeeper Rodriguez. Doxley looking solid in midfield for Cavalier, and here he is under the ball now. As you said, had a stint at Morvant Caledonia in the Trinidad and Tobago Pro League, a team that is organised by Jamal Shabazz, who was actually appointed as the St. Lucia national coach a couple of years ago.
And you, as mentioned, Doxley did have a stint in St. Lucia.
Yeah, well, that's where he's from. He had a stint in Trinidad, where Shabazz is from, with Morvant Caledonia. Atkinson does well here. The little man has a lot of skill and confidence on the ball. Shanil Thomas, the ball just runs away from him. Just a little bit too much weight played with that pass from his teammate.
I think one of the things that Cavalier will have to do a bit more in terms of getting some squares into the box. We've seen Rodriguez, not only in this game but previous game, a bit suspect in his handling of the squares, the crosses into the box. So I suspect that could be something that Cavalier can look at going into the second half as we approach the end of the first.
Yeah, Cephas having real trouble there on the surface. You could see him tumbling over quite a few times. Kong, Guthrie, Sigri. Yeah, the space opening, the first touch there, not as good as it needed to be from Sigri.
I think his shot inadvertently fell to Barnes, but Barnes couldn't bring it under control because not intended for him and the pace of it, and it gave the defenders an opportunity in Ming to really recover.
Heading towards a half-time break, there's going to be some time added on for stoppages here, because there were a few stoppages here in the half. Kong. Sigri on the pressure. Does well to keep possession. Doxley fouls. Guthrie, free kick to Arnett Gardens. Yeah, it looks as if Guthrie was struck there in the back of the thigh, or just behind the knee, it seems. Yeah, pretty
just behind the knee there, yes.
Yeah, painful for the Arnett captain.
In the last few minutes, a bit scrappy in the middle of the park there. But we've seen decent first half, you could say. And 5 fouls apiece for these two teams. And a lot of that you felt have come over the last few minutes.
Yeah. Pretty stiff blow there received by Guthrie. Let's hope for him and the Arnett Garn's sake that he's badly hurt by that play. 3 minutes to be added on for stoppages, we're told, which maybe is a little less than I'd expected given the stoppages we had. There's Alex Thomas, the Arnett coach. Sigri again tries one at goal. Sigri, the deflection from King, but it deflects way out of danger and no threat on his goal for the moment. But yeah, there is definitely a willingness. Confirmation there, 3 minutes added on for stoppages. Definitely signs here that the Arnett Garns men are willing to drive shots at White.
Yeah, I think they really recognize that his mobility is effective.
White efficient there with that take. No threat. In transition, here comes Cavalier with Chin. Yeah, it gives Thomas too much work with that play. Thomas wouldn't have gotten to that. I know the Olympic Games are coming up and everyone now feels that they are fast and can run quickly as athletes, but Thomas would not have gotten to that, would he?
Yeah, no, there's no way he was going to get to that. There's too much weight on it, and he was always marshaled in his effort to get to that one.
Guthrie back on. Barnes. Sigri. Compact Cavalier defense there. Sigri was forced to go wide outside with the ball. Barnes holding the ball up well. Clark. Martin goes wide. Good build up here. Kung. Shane Roberts tumbles over from the Irving challenge, and it's now Cavalier on the counter attack. Irving. The pass was intended for him, but it was much too close to Simpson, who efficiently intercepts. Arnett coming with the ball now, with Martin goes wide to Cephas. Irving tracking back for Cavalier. Yeah, Cephas with a couple of step overs, but tumbled over himself. Leng to Murray to Doxley. Now Chin has it with acres of room on the right. Doesn't like his forward passing options, so they go back into their own half, Cavalier, and start the play over. Ming. Doxley. Cavalier looking patient. We're in the last minute of the first half. Irving. Leng. Murray. Ming. Knocked over by Sigri. That was a little belated there.
I thought he to play the advantage.
Yeah. Sigri outstanding in the first half here for Arnett Gardens.
Yeah, doing a lot of work. Lance, he's employed to come from the left back position, but I guess in the early part of the game, with Cavalier employing Doxley in the middle of the park, we see Sigri coming inside a lot to create numbers up and give options to Arnett Gardens in the middle of the park.
Stefan Dwyer, the man with the whistle, says it's the first half completed. There's Guthrie, who had an injury a couple of minutes ago. It looks as if he's okay now, but Arnett Garns and Cavalier locked in a 0-0 tussle here. We have mentioned that in the past few years there haven't been too many scoreless games between these two teams, and at the moment no goals between Cavalier and Arnett Garns. The UWI-JFF Captain Horsburgh Centre of Excellence. It's the Jamaica Premier League powered by Digicel. And the 5-time champions Arnett Gardens are up against Cavalier here at the moment.
sure many.
There's the whistle to start things off.
Pretty sure with them being many-time champion, because of the season that we're having here, there's not much between difference among the teams in the competition, and evenly matched, close.
Yeah.
So I think they will still feel like they have a chance to increase their trophy haul, both these two teams.
Yeah. Pretty skillful stuff there from Guthrie. Looked as if he was going to tumble over after stepping on the ball, but kept his balance well. Barnes trying to flip the ball around King, not successful. Arnett starting the second half in pretty much the same way that they employed tactics throughout the first. Chin overrun by Sigri, wins a free kick for Cavalier inside his own half.
And as I suggested pre-match, these two teams like to play high intensity, like to press, but so far it is Arnett Gardens who have in the upper hand in pushing Cavalier back.
Clark goes down hurt.
They're knock on the knee. Players' legs coming together.
Looks as if he's okay now. Here's what happened. Yeah, two players just clashing there with the legs as they challenge for the ball. Ming and Clark. Sigri goes all the way back into his defensive zone, finds Cunningham. Cunningham comes across to Roberts. Cephas turns really well here. Kong, a little bit too slow there, didn't realize there was pressure on. Cephas. Martin gave the ball away there. Doxley with a great pass upfield, and the speedy Atkinson tries to outrun Simpson. Arnett's defenders take care of business in the end. Huge disparity in size there as the two men went for the ball, Atkinson and Simpson.
And Simpson had a little concern first.
Yeah, hardly. Barnes! Side netting or behind the goal? Yeah.
Looks to be behind the goal.
Behind the goal.
But again, his movement is good. Always giving options to the attacking midfielders, and to get him on the ball, just needs to work on that finishing.
Barnes there had a side throw and goal, but didn't get his boot around the shot enough, and as a result didn't really get the shot on goal.
In fairness to him too, I think King was applying good pressure to him.
Yeah, but that would be their 12th attempt on goal. Arnett Gardens.
Still none on target.
Yeah, so they've got to work on their shooting accuracy, this Arnett Gardens team. Both teams will spend this season here looking for new goal scorers, because both teams have suffered from losing their top scorers of the past few seasons. For Arnett Gardens, their 11-goal leader last year, Kemal Malcolm, is now at Chalatenango in El Salvador. Paul Wilson and Fabian Reed were the next most prolific. Webster going down there. Reed and Wilson not in the current setup. Reed had been the scoring leader for Arnett Gardens 3 consecutive years before the aborted season last year, so none of these players around here for Arnett Gardens at the moment. Similar story for Cavalier. Siobhan Marshall was their scoring leader with 12 goals last year, now playing his club football in El Salvador. The season prior, 2018-2019, Marshall and Hamilton, 11 and 10 goals respectively, were their scoring leaders. 2017-2018, Marsh with 9 goals was their scoring leader. So I'm calling names there, Jeremiah, that aren't on their current roster. So new men will have to take up the mantle of scoring goals for these two teams.
Are you justifying their bluntness? Yeah, but for sure, of course, they would be missing these quality players for sure. Most definitely, they're missing those up front. But it provides an opportunity for other players now to step up to the mantle and really provide that spark and cutting edge for both these two teams. Thomas and Barnes will get better as the competition goes on. As we say, Barnes, very good mover, recognizing space, just needs to finish better.
Yeah, Sigri and Chin locked in a tight battle for the ball there. Initially it was Chin was roughed up off the ball, but then he got back to his feet and gave Sigri some of his own medicine. Now Doxley is down.
Getting a little bit scrappy with the play. Not the fluency that we've come to see in the early parts of the first half.
King with a long pass over to the left side. Irving unable to keep it in. So says Yvette Stevenson, the assistant referee on this side of the field. There's King at defense for Cavalier this afternoon. They've been under a lot of pressure, the Cavalier defense. Kong for Arnett. An upsurge in windy conditions here at the moment as Thomas. Here comes Atkinson over the top from 6 yards. Aha! He should have done better with that, the 19-year-old.
Still can't get a shot on target, this Cavalier team, and that certainly should have worked, at least work Rodriguez. Good ball into the box there from Webster across the box, and always leaning away is Atkinson, but you expect him to hit the back of the net from about 8 yards out.
Yeah. Goalkeeper Rodriguez came in and presented himself big, but Atkinson went over the top with that one. First shot of the game for Cavalier.
And a good chance it was for them to go.
Best chance of the match so far.
Yes, even better.
Arnett have had 12 shots on goal and none would have been as clear cut as that one. Got 3. Here comes Atkinson again, but it's 1 against 3 at the moment. Oh, he uses good pace here, Atkinson. Still no support. Not sure what he tried to do there because there was no one in the middle for him to service with the ball. Maybe just an act of desperation to hit that one goalwards and hope that something could have come out of it.
But you initially didn't expect him to get the better of the 3 defenders that were seeming to marshal him, but he certainly did well. It was a change of pace once he put on the afterburners in both. And then it was Cunningham who was sticking to him as best he could, but was never going to get anywhere close to him.
Yeah, that is an example of how impactful pace can be in football, because this little man, probably 5 feet 6 inches tall, hounded by 6-footers and more experienced players, some of them, shot on goal, off target. But he got away from them. Yes, they presented enough pressure so that he couldn't comfortably strike a proper shot on goal, but this young man has so much pace, he will cause problems for all of the opposing defenders he'll meet. Still just 19 years old.
Yes, young and bright, but not only pace too, as you mentioned, Lance, but change of pace in terms of, you know, just recognizing, slowing down, recognizing when the defender is flat-footed and then accelerating, which he did well.
Webster. Martin puts pressure on Webster, but Webster, goal kick. Yeah, Martin putting enough pressure on the young man to not allow him to flourish on the...
It appears to be a free kick, Lance.
Oh, he wins a foul. Yeah, Webster very, very skillful. He had his shirt being tugged there for a moment. Yeah, Webster playing with a lot of good skills on the ball.
I really enjoyed watching, especially when he was at St. Elizabeth Technical.
Oh, there goes White down again.
I think it's going to be a feature of of this half where White is concerned. Did so a few times in the first half, and I think he's still suffering from the awkward landing he had on his ankle.
A player who has featured in a moment of history for Cavalier when they'll boast that they started 3 17-year-olds in the same game in December 2017 against Montego Bay United. Jadine White, Jamoy Topi and Kahim Paris. Yeah, so Cavalier with a history of investing in youth. Doxley at 23 years old at the moment, the oldest player currently on the field for Cavalier, and that says something, doesn't it?
It does, and as I said before, it's a model that they've decided to stick with, and I'm pretty sure as a club they have seen the reward. We looking from the outside too have seen many players making the transition to the next level.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens here with this free kick for Cavalier. Irving about to strike it. A few white shirts in the middle waiting for it. Now Cavalier have been dominated offensively in this game. Can they, against the run of play, strike something here for the black and white? Deflection. The header out. Murray. Now Arnett on the counter. 2 against 2 at the moment. And there goes Arnett, men rushing forward. Harley Barnes and Romeo Guthrie. Barnes goes for goal! Brilliant save by Jadine White. He aimed for the corner, got it on target, but White was brilliant. The turnaround and the corner kick to Arnett Gardens.
Good all-round play, good counter-attacking play from Arnett, and they transitioned quite well. That was sneaking inland, and it required White. Didn't show any signs of problems with his mobility there. Shuffled and got across and flung himself to his right and kept Cavalier in the game.
Barnes inches away from his first goal this season for Arnett Gardens. Brilliant save by White. Good corner. Not sure anyone touched it, or maybe an Arnett man touched it, but it's a goal kick to Cavalier, who will thank their goalkeeper Jadine White for keeping the score sheet clean at the moment. Fine strike by Harley Barnes.
We've been talking our game lands how good he is as a young goalkeeper, and there he showed you all of his qualities in keeping Arnett off the score sheet.
I think it's a little bit more difficult sometimes for goalkeepers to get overseas opportunities than regular outfield players. I just listed the 3 17-year-olds who had turned out for Cavalier in that game against Moby United back in December 2017. Kareem Paris, Jamoy Topi and Jadine White. White the only one still here. Paris just signed for FC Koper in Slovenia, now plays in Slovenia's top flight. He had been in the Division 2, I think, before that. Topi's with the Philadelphia Union, and his former teammate Wexler sets the ball inside here to Shanil Thomas. Cavalier in front by 1 goal to 0. The former JC man on spot at the right time and against the run of play and against the offensive form book. It's Cavalier that are enjoying the advantage.
It's a good quick break there from Cavalier, and the writing was on the wall. A few times we saw Atkinson down that side, that right side, and he has really used his space to good effect. And with the return of Thomas into the starting lineup, a focal point for this Cavalier team to aim at. That was a neat finish there. Rodriguez couldn't come out in time to stifle that effort, and it is Cavalier who shown in the past few minutes that they can be a good threat, and that's their first shot on target, or the first in the game, and it's ended up in a goal.
Yeah, Shanil Thomas, only 19 years old, opens his scoring account for the 2021 season. And Arnett Gardens will be deflated by what has happened here, having shown so much willingness to attack and putting so much pressure on the Cavalier defense for all of the first hour almost. We are now on the hour mark, but it's this man, Shanil Thomas, former Jamaica College standout, that has Cavalier leading now by 1-0.
You could see coming in the second half, Cavalier, it's an intent to play on the counter, looking to soak up the pressure, as you said, and it started the way they ended the first half, putting Cavalier under pressure, but they've left 3 players up top and seek to get them going every opportunity they get.
Goodale Irving in defense for Cavalier has been pretty solid for them. Not only in defense, but he has been the man who has instigated a lot of their offensive plays from the flank, Irving. Martin now for Arnett. Over dribbles and loses it, but there was a bit of a foul on him by Thomas. Free kick to Arnett. Another Arnett man down as well, Steve Clark. Thomas scored 2 goals last year in the Premier League for Cavalier. He's just nudging the knee there of Martin. He goes down and wins a foul, or wins a free kick from the foul. Arnett have now given up the first goal in all 3 of their games. Remember, they had to come from behind to defeat Cumberland in their last outing, and they had lost their opener to Tivoli Gardens. So in many ways, this has been one of their best performances of the season so far, certainly in the first half. But now they're trailing again.
Again, we see the opportunity for a counter for Cavalier. And it is again Webster on it.
Oh, Webster does really well here. Oh, slides the ball into Thomas again. Has he won a corner? I think he has. So Webster, who assisted on the Shanil Thomas goal, knocked the ball inside for the 19-year-old again. Thomas efficient with a finish on that occasion. Atkinson had gotten one earlier on that looked pretty easy as well, but he skied it.
And again, it was from Webster. The fact is, as you mentioned, the defensive problems of Arnett, on the back of what you mentioned with them last season, going long stretch without clean sheet, and as we said earlier, in this contest, they tend to have an opportunity, a case where they give up an opportunity ever so often.
Irving with a corner for Cavalier, swirling in toward the near post. The pressure still there. The shot, Doxley! First goal in the Premier League in Jamaica. The St. Lucian makes it 2-0 for Cavalier. And Arnett Garn sink into even further trouble as Shadeen Rodriguez is beaten. Doxley puts Cavalier firmly in front.
And do you think, based on the evidence of things here, that could be it for Arnett? But no, I think Doxley must be wondering how did he get so much space. I think the defenders were ball watching, coming out slow, you feel, and was played on. I think it might have been Cunningham who played him on, slow to come out.
Great technique there from Doxley, the 23-year-old. Yeah, says hi to his St. Lucian fans probably watching in that Eastern Caribbean island. Yeah, so what a turnaround. What a turnaround this has been.
I think critical to it so far, Alance, has been the difference we've seen even with Webster in the second half. Totally more imposing on this game in the second half, and has been a part of everything bright and beautiful for Cavalier.
Arnett making a couple of changes. Deacon on. And Rashid Kelson in as well. So Kelson and Deacon, 2 new players on for Arnett Gardens. Guthrie. Cephas. Still Cephas. Yeah, didn't use the options of some assistance he had there. The speedy Atkinson chases, but I think Simpson will get there before him this time. He does. Followed by Atkinson on Simpson. Free kick to Arnett, deep inside their own half. So trouble for Arnett. Who bossed the first half and now find themselves trailing 2-0, 65 minutes in. And we're up to the water break. And at the same time, White is down hurt again for Cavalier.
I think Cavalier would be more pleased coming out of the half-time break, and whatever the talk was and the change to their play in terms of the intensity certainly have paid dividends for them. And see Doxley there, they score off the second goal for them. Employed in a midfield role today and certainly rewarding his coach's impetus to put him in a midfield position with a goal. And a good goal it was. Always nice to see those overhead kicks. But the space he found himself in, I'm thinking he was surprised himself that he was afforded so much time and space to execute that shot.
Yeah, and the first goal by Chanel Thomas. Webster doing some really good work on the right side, and setting up the fellow youngster with the opportunity to score his first goal this season. There's Jadine White getting some refreshment. Cavalier, we're told, about to make a triple change. So English and Simpson are among the men coming on. There's the number 25, Brian English, inserted by Cavalier. So Coach Rudolph Speed wants to tighten his grip on the game. They already lead by 2-0. And this would be a bit of a hammer blow here for this Arnett Gardens team, who had looked so promising early. Simpson in for Murray. Guthrie. Cephas. Thomas. Oh, English with a great pass across. Slowly has just come on for Cavalier. That's Collingham, isn't it? It's just come on. Has a smile on his face, and I can't say I'm surprised this team is now on top and looking to set themselves up here for their second win of the season. And a win that would take them to the top of the table. Yeah, English was trying to get the ball there to Thomas, but Thomas, because he felt he was in an offside position, wasn't offering himself for the pass.
And maybe he needed to have gone and allowed the assistant referee to make the decision.
Kong for Arnett. Yeah, we were suggesting that we don't often see nil-all scorelines between these two teams at half-time, so there was always a confidence that we could have gotten some goals here. They did have a nil-all scoreline between Cavalier and Arnett back in April 2019, as Arnett are trying to go forward with Deacon, but on the near post, Jadine White is comfortable taking it. Yeah, that was the second leg, Jeremiah, of the playoff, when Cavalier had already won the first leg by 3-0, so they were playing safe in the second leg, and that was a reason for that nil-all scoreline, or a part of the reason for that nil-all scoreline, because generally these teams don't battle to scoreless draws.
Yes, and we've seen here, and also the fact that if Cavalier go on to win this one, it would have been their first win over Arnett in the last 4 meetings, so it'd be turning the tide somewhat.
Yeah, Arnett swept them last year. Webster, Simpson, Lang, Doxley. I think he was looking for Webster there, but Webster wasn't interested in receiving that one. But Doxley and Shanil Thomas, the goal scorers for Cavalier. 20 minutes to go in the game. Arnett, their backs against the wall here against the Cavalier team that is now pumped up by the 2 goals they've got.
Yes, and quite rightly so, and they have to be pleased also with pretty much their defensive work. Yes, they've been under the coach, but didn't allow Arnett to really have a sight on goal. Some of it to faulty finishing from Arnett, but also they haven't given much time or space for Cephas, who's still on the park, and Clark, who has been substituted. As you see, a yellow card there being shown to Cunningham. But yeah, they have defended well and have been deep enough to prevent runners going in behind, and so much has really blunted this Arnett Garden attack, and so it's good work to them on the defensive end as well.
That's Anderson taking the tumble. So Chedin Rodriguez, the Arnett Gardens goalkeeper, beaten twice here in the second half.
I think he did get a hand to the second goal there, where Doxley had over a kick, but just wasn't strong enough to keep it out.
King being hustled there by Cephas for the ball. I think he wins himself a goal kick here, so Cavalier just measuring their performances at the moment. There's Kamoy Simpson, who didn't start today, coming off the bench, and some experience, or more experience now in the Cavalier setup.
Just looking to try and manage this game and see if they can close it out.
Yeah, by far the oldest player on the field at the moment for Cavalier, Kamoy Simpson at 29. Yeah, English, the other substitute, also 29 years old, so Speed going for some experience on the field to manage the remainder of this game to ensure they collect the 3 points that they have set themselves up for here with these 2 second half goals.
Yeah, it's a good strategy employed today. Wanted the younger legs, more enthused players going forward, and once he would have gotten the advantage, now seeking to shore it up and put steady hands on the ship to take them over the line and take 3 points here that in the second half, on the run of play, playing on the counter, you feel it's nothing more than they deserve. The front 3 for Cavalier in the second half been very fluent. We see Webster switching from right to left, and Thomas going through the middle, going right side, Atkins going from left to right.
Simpson gets the ball further out now. Shanil Thomas, the opening goal scorer, now back to Simpson. No hurry, no haste here for this Cavalier team at the moment. Atkinson, Doxley, Ming, who still has the captain's armband on, even though Kamoy Simpson has come on. Unforced error for Cavalier. Arnett now in possession with Martin. Deacon. Martin with a return play. Gives himself too much work here, and at the same time, King in defense for Cavalier, very alert and assured in his approach, and takes care of business. Cavalier on top 2-0. Shanil Thomas and Melvin Doxley, the scorers for Cavalier.
And Lance, apart from that early chance where we saw Cephas early in the game, pretty much 1-on-1 with goalkeeper, we haven't seen much clear-cut chances from Arnett, created by Arnett Gardens. A lot of shots from distance, but so deep is Cavalier that Arnett just cannot slice their way through, and they're getting a lot of numbers behind the ball. Can't afford to do so, Cavalier, because of the type of players they have up front. in the front three of Atkinson, Webster and Thomas. Webster and Atkinson, good speed and trickery. And Thomas providing a reference point, as we saw he did in his first goal, or the first goal of this game.
Yeah, and good to see Doxley getting on the score sheet because of his defensive duties, not a prolific goal scorer. Did have a couple of goals for Grosselet in the St. Lucia Premier League back in 2020, and did score for Morgan Caledonia in the Trinidad and Tobago Pro League, 1 goal in the 2018 season. So he's not a regular scorer, but he certainly took that overhead kick with a lot of composure and quality just now.
Yeah, it's a finish that any striker would be proud of, the way he executed.
Webster assisting on both goals as well. Dwight just turned 20 years old a couple of weeks ago, Ronald Webster, and fitting in very, very comfortably in this Cavalier team now.
Yes, transition to the Jamaica Premier League from schoolboy football, seemingly seamless. And like I said, he's a player I loved watching at schoolboy football, and like in the second half, totally more imposing and influential in this game. Came out a different player in the second half.
Yeah, did have a short stint with Reno as well before moving over to Cavalier. Here's English, delightful pass across here to Anderson. Atkinson waiting in the middle. English with a strike, but Simpson gets in the way.
And if he was striking a goal, looking to cut back, I just have to see that one again. But if it was a strike, didn't seem as if it was going to trouble Rodriguez. But initially there, I felt he was trying to pick out a player.
Yeah.
Looking to cut back, but definitely not going to trouble Rodriguez.
A very, very high quality player, Brian English. I've always been very impressed with him from his days at Harbourview. And he's offering Cavalier a lot of midfield generalship at the moment. Anderson retrieves towards the far side. Atkinson. Doxley. Trying to split the defense there, but the Arnett defenders take care of business. Now Guthrie for Arnett. Tackled successfully by Doxley. Lengthens it and gives it to Webster. Webster with the step overs. Oh, Webster does really well here. Still Webster! Blocked by Cunningham. Wow.
That would have been a great goal there. Individual goal by Webster. Really bamboozling the defense with his step overs and getting off a good shot.
Oh, Simpson with a delightful play here. Atkinson has a chance to strike and goes for goal. Off the line. Now the finish by Shanil Thomas. Second goal of the afternoon. And the Cavalier are now in front by 3 goals to 0, are they? No, the referee has something to say about the play, has he? No, I think it's in.
He's pointing that it is in. So yes, it's the second goal for Shanil Thomas.
Yeah, here's what happened here. Delightful pass there by Kamoy Simpson. Now, because of the angle, well, initially I thought Dwayne Atkinson opted maybe not to strike at goal. Then he went for the near post. I thought the ball had gone in here from the first strike.
But it came off the crossbar, I think, and bounced the other side of the line.
Yeah, and first the bounce was Shanil Thomas there, right on target.
But again, good work from another, all the front players being involved here. And Atkinson really did well to get that one on target. I think Rodriguez was gambling on that one, thinking that Atkinson was going for the cross, because he did him with the eyes and then go for the near post, as you said, Lance. And the defender was just on hand. The crossbar saved them there, but Thomas, the quickest to respond.
And so Shanil Thomas engineers a tremendous turnaround in this game here for Arnett Gardens. Alex Thomas, the Arnett Gardens coach, they're looking deflated, having gone into the half-time break with seeming control of the game.
Yeah, it's quite clear Cavalier going into the half, realizing that they're under pressure, and it would have suited them better with Arnett throwing a number of players forward. I think at one point in the first half, Lance, we looked and Arnett had about 7 players in the box as Rodriguez continued to get treatment. So they continue to throw players forward, and I think what was recognized by the Cavalier technical team is that it would suit them best to play on the counter, and they did that to great effect in the second half.
First time for the season that a team has scored more or as many as 3 goals in the season in a match, and Cavalier have that honor. And we still have 10 minutes left. Yeah, Marlon Martin is out for Arnett Garns, and Deshaun Bernard is in for him. So Arnett making another change as well. But with under 10 minutes remaining in this game, the job now appears to be beyond Arnett Garns. Bernard, the sub, across to Guthrie. Guthrie's pass isn't very good. Guthrie recovers. Cephas for Arnett. Still Cephas. His cross is powerful, but Simpson gets in the way. Corner to Arnett.
Again, that deep line, defensive line of Cavalier, just not allowing space for Cephas to get in behind.
Wow, good skill from Atkinson. English gets away, being chased by 2 Arnett men. Anderson comes to the edge of the box and strikes, but poorly. And Rodriguez has the easy take.
Yeah, that was a poor attempt in the end, and it wasn't worthy of the type of build-up that we saw before that. But what we've seen from English since he's come on, Lance, is those late runs from midfield, and actually really having no trackers with him. He's allowed to play those balls second time around. We've seen that.
Well, Webster breaking free here. The flag stays down, so Webster has room still with the ball. Webster goes for goal, and it's Thomas with a strike, his third. The offside flag is up, so that won't count, but that was almost a hat-trick for Shanil Thomas. Not a natural hat-trick because Duxley had scored in between.
Yeah,
the offside flag had gone up.
In the final moments of the game here, every time that Cavalier go forward, they look like scoring. Chasing the game, we see Arnett switching to 3 at the back, and there's a lot of space to the flank, and they've Webster and Atkinson were dominant with 4 at the back. You can just imagine with space wide of the penalty area for them to run into.
Yeah. I spoke of Arnett Garns' defensive woes last year, and they appear to be resurfacing now as Webster goes hunting for more Cavalier goals. Oh, loses his balance, Webster. Oh, the ball still comes across. English, still English. Does well to get a strike off. Appeared to have been dragged a bit there.
That was Atkinson.
Oh, that was Atkinson. Atkinson, yeah. Just out-muscled. Yeah, but almost a hat-trick here for Shanil Thomas, but there he is offside. You can see from that angle that he was a step ahead of Cunningham. Yeah, but a complete turnaround here. You know, the cliche term in football, a game of 2 halves, because what we're seeing here since the halftime break is completely opposite to what we saw in the first half.
And I think one of the features that we saw of Arnett Gardens in the first half is a situation where we saw a Segri playing from the left back position. Was a lot of time going into the middle of the park, and so it almost effectively creating 3 at the back. And I think Cavalier would have recognized that somewhat in the second half and just left their 3 front men up front, and every time Arnett attacked and it broke down, they hit them on the counter in those spaces provided. So Cavalier looking to make another substitution. We see Webster, who has really influenced this second half as the player coming out. Really had a brilliant second half, and I think was really the reason, and all of this good work started through him in getting Cavalier ahead. And 2 assists in this 3-goal lead for Cavalier. Really a good second half performance.
So Webster exits the game. One of the star performers for this Cavalier team, for sure. Yeah, I would say it's his best performance of the season, Webster, in this Cavaliers' 4th game. A result that is set now to take Cavalier to the top of the point standings, provisionally, of course, because this is only the opening game of match day 4. And they will, with this result, move up to 7 points and move ahead of Portmore atop the table. And Arnett Garns, heartbroken here in the second half by 3 unanswered goals by Cavalier. This would be Arnett Garns' worst result for them since sometime during the aborted 2019-2020 season. And they were beaten 3-0 by Dunbeholden back in December 2019. This, if it stays here, would be the worst Arnett result since then. The cross. Simpson for Arnett. Anderson puts pressure on. 3.5 minutes of normal time remaining. Time to be added on for stoppages. Arnett trying to salvage something here late. Thomas chasing but won't get there in time. Yeah, the clearance by Rodriguez got to English, but he wasn't able to keep it.
Coming to the end of this one, just under 3 minutes to go with time to be added on. I think we've seen some good performances from this Cavalier team. As I mentioned earlier, Atkinson really the catalyst for this victory today. Really started very well in the second half, providing 2 assists. And Thomas with 2 good finish, just thwarted by the offside flag for hat-trick. Those 2 are the standout for me, Lance, in terms of a man of the match award.
Atkinson started out brightly, but Webster was tremendous as well. The goal scorer, Thomas Doxley, also solid. So a lot to choose from here with the MVP for the game, because all 4 of those players, in my estimation, played significant roles today in Cavalier getting this result. Doxley was pretty solid for the entire game. A lot of the others came to light in the second half, which was the pivotal period for Cavalier. So I guess those are the factors we'd consider here. Doxley.
And also playing what we'd call out of position, so to speak, employed in midfield today, Doxley, and did the job in terms of the first half, breaking up the play. So yeah, you're right. It's a close call. So we see Sigri there being shown the yellow card, I think, for a raised elbow on Doxley.
Yeah, so a yellow card there. Not a lot of cards issued in this game so far. So the policeman, Stefan Duar, the referee, hasn't had a lot of interventions. Of course, we've already seen the Portmore United St. Lucian Alvinus Myers pick up 2 man of the match honors. So if Doxley gets the vote here, it would continue a good run for St. Lucians in the Premier League as far as star performers are concerned. As I say that, Doxley picks up a yellow card, does he?
Yes, he does.
Doxley picks up the yellow. Oh, Sigri has yellow. Arnett, Sifa strikes that goal, a bit of a deflection, which makes the take easier for goalkeeper Jadine White. very hard to deny Shanil Thomas, though, as a double goal scorer in a 3-0 scoreline for the man of the match honour. He exits the game, by the way, so a couple of the players in the conversation for man of the match are now off on the bench.
I mean, you could argue that in the second half, in order for them to play on the counter, a player like Doxley in the middle of the park, sitting in front of the defensive line, breaking up the plays and stopping the Arnett attack, did afford them the opportunity to so do.
4 minutes added on for stoppages here, and Cavalier are on the verge here of securing what has been a very, very satisfying afternoon of football for them, because they did go into the second half, the break at the first half, in strife, being outplayed by Arnett Gardens. And here they are trying to get a fourth goal of the afternoon, and Rodriguez touches this one over. And the expression on Rodriguez's face tells you the Arnett Gardens story. So we're into stoppage time, and can Cavalier make this a fourth? The header out by Cunningham. Anderson fetches this one over on the right. Oh, a strike on goal, and Rodriguez equal to the task.
I think, just thinking about it, Lance, and all that has gone on, 2 goals scored, you say it's difficult to deny him. Then you add to the fact that Doxley has scored, played out of position, critical to the type of strategy employed in the second half.
Yeah.
You can't have 2 persons winning the awards, but very close, but wouldn't have a problem with Doxley at all.
Let's keep it in now, let's keep it in.
So we're in the final couple of minutes here of stoppage time. And the MVP vote for the match goes in a photo finish to the double goal scorer, Shanil Thomas. Just edging his teammate, Melvin Doxley. Ainsworth. Ball slips out of the goalkeeper's hand, but at this point, no Cavalier forward hungry enough to be storming in. Free kick. Arnett beaten this afternoon after a very promising first half. The 5-time champions now suffering their second loss in 3 matches, Arnett Gardens. Yeah, that's Deacon going for it, but being outmuscled here by the Cavalier defenders. Ezra and Simpson. A lot of confidence on the ball from central defense, Simpson. Sigri, who based on his first half performance was building his stocks for the MVP honor, but things really made a U-turn for Arnett Gardens in the second half.
And you want to think maybe the way he was employed.
Cavalier looking for goal number 4. Yeah, that's a powerful strike on goal, but way over the top from young Atkinson.
I think based on the stage of the game, he went for that maybe earlier on. Had it not been the scoreline as we saw his play earlier, he would have looked to set up someone.
Yeah, and that's the final whistle from referee Stephen Dewar. And Cavalier coming up with another victory here by 3-0 and surging to the top of the point standings after a bit of a stutter in their second and third matches. 1-1 with Harbourview and losing to Dunbehold, and rebound Cavalier with the 3-0 victory. Shanil Thomas with 2 goals, Melvin Doxley, the St. Lucian, with the other. And Cavalier are handsome 3-0 winners here over Arnett Gardens on the opening day of, or the opening match of match day 4 in the Jamaica Premier League, powered by Digicel.